The United States and Canada, neighbors, allies and trading partners, we share the world's longest undefended border. The relationship is peaceful and cooperative. But could this harmony ever be broken? Could the US ever annex Canada by force? The idea seems absurd, yet history teaches us to never say never. The historical relationship between the US and Canada is complex. The US invaded Canada during the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. These invasions failed. Since then, the relationship evolved. Today, the US and Canada are close partners. They share democratic values and economic interests. Military conflict is almost unthinkable. The US military is a global superpower. It possesses overwhelming firepower and advanced technology. The US military budget dwarfs all others. Canada, in contrast, has a smaller, more defensive military. It focuses on peacekeeping and domestic security. In a direct military confrontation, the US would likely prevail. However, military strength isn't everything. Canada's vast geography would pose a challenge. The US would need a massive force to occupy such a large country. Resistance from the Canadian population would be fierce. A protracted guerrilla war could drain US resources. International law prohibits the annexation of sovereign nations by force. Any attempt by the US to annex Canada would be met with global condemnation. The United Nations would likely impose sanctions. US allies in Europe and elsewhere would distance themselves. The US would become an international pariah. The economic consequences for the US would be severe. Canada is a major trading partner. An annexation would disrupt trade and investment. The US dollar could weaken. The US's reputation as a reliable partner would be shattered. Annexing Canada would be a logistical nightmare. The US would face the daunting task of governing a vast and diverse population. Canadians would resist US rule. The US would need to maintain a large military presence to quell unrest. The cost, both in terms of money and lives, would be staggering. In conclusion, while the US military could likely defeat Canada in a conventional war, the idea of annexing Canada is simply not feasible. The logistical challenges, international condemnation and domestic resistance would be insurmountable. The costs of such an endeavor would far outweigh any potential benefits. The US and Canada are better off as friends and allies.